I'll just have a cup of coffee.
Beer it is.
No, I said coffee.
Beer.
Coffee.
B-ear.
C-O. What? No. What? No. What? You went into the attic? I'm very disappointed and terrified. Why don't you bring this potato? That's pretty big.
Mom, you're always trying to give me potatoes. What is it with you?
I just think they're neat. Why do birds suddenly appear over there, over here? 8 spices. Some must be doubles. Oregano. What the hell? Oh no, not Lenny. Not Lenny. Kids, turn off the TV. I have some bad news about Lenny.
Not Lenny!
Live from the epicenter of independent cinema, it's Filmstuffs with your host, Jake S. Weisman. Tonight's guest, Chicago film programmer Raul Benitez. With me, the original Charles Grodin, Jack Quint. Let's start the show!
What's happening, film dorks? Thanks for joining us this week. I got some news to start off, and we will get back to Charles Grodin. I hope everyone is having a nice week. What's in the news right now? Some stuff that, if I would have been covering this less than a year ago, waves would have been all over the place. I checked Reddit. It's not even on Reddit. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Discovery Plus and Warner joining together with, I don't know how AT&T fits in there, but now Discovery Plus is going to be going onto HBO Max, and the aggregation begins. Also, Amazon is talking about buying MGM outright for $9 billion. They were talking about maybe buying one movie, the new James Bond movie, for $800 million, but instead just buy out the entire studio for $9 billion. What is it? Billion? That's right. Not a billy. So we're seeing now that everything's opening up. How is the dust going to settle? How is all the sand going to settle? I don't know, but we're going to start seeing the strengths. That being said, not independent news at all. It's just kind of landscape of cinema right now. Also, I think we all need to be on the rise of paid VOD, PVOD, which is stuff with that you don't have to pay for, but has built-in ads to it. So almost television, but not television. IMDb TV, Pluto, Tubi. I think there's going to be a rise in all of those. Jack, Jack.
Here I am.
It's nice to see you, buddy.
You as well.
How have you been this week?
Oh, I've been pretty good. I was unaware about all of that big aggregation stuff, but it kind of makes sense. I have been seeing more ads on YouTube lately.
Sure. I mean, YouTube is such a beast. I don't know what is going on with the ads and the monetization there.
Well, for one, they keep wanting you to
soon.
They keep wanting you to subscribe to YouTube TV, and so I have to click no thanks every time.
Is that the case?
This is, I think, how they're splitting the difference, because you can just get so much free content on YouTube anyway.
Right.
Oh, speaking of free content, it's really nice that you're all joining us for the show tonight. You are watching us here and hopefully on YouTube.com. So you should be watching on YouTube at any rate, because that is how you will see the highest definition. You can like and share and subscribe to all of our methods of mass transportation at jellyrollchicago.com. We are streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But again, YouTube has the highest quality, which is going to be really good when we do our screening at the end of the month, which is Film Stuff so far.
Wonderful. Oh boy. Yeah, that's all this big news. And you know what the news I keep seeing about is the new cast of Knives Out 2. That's it.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's all anyone's talking about. They got great cast, and that's all well and good, but I can't wait until the fanboys start telling Rian Johnson how Knives Out should go. very curious to see how that's going to end up.
Oh yeah, that's usually true. These projects start one way, but then they very quickly lose control and turn into a completely different thing.
Hopefully not. What with the whole, I mean, we don't have to get into the episode 7 stuff. That is as far away from independent film as you can possibly get. Before we get into it, can we talk about Charles Grodin? Can we talk about Paul Mooney?
Yeah, yes, most definitely. Let's. They're both very iconic. Paul Mooney certainly in the comedy world. I mean, I was really unaware of him until he was featured on Chappelle's show a lot, and then I was like, "Who is this guy?" And he's just he was with everyone. He just goes way back to Richard Pryor. Just wrote and performed with everyone, and just a real writer's room kind of a guy.
Yeah, really one of my favorites, and I was surprised to see him go at the same time. Can we put up
oh yes,
picture?
Of course.
He did a movie called Bamboozled. It's a Spike Lee film.
Yes,
and he plays Damon Wayans' father, and that's when I first heard of him. And he plays a character named Junebug, and he's so brutal, but he's basically just playing Paul Mooney. And captured just a wonderful essence. I really, it was nice to see him on Chappelle's show, and we're sad to see him go. And Charles Grodin, along with Paul Mooney, this is a shot of Charles Grodin from So I Married an Axe Murderer, which is one of my favorite moments of any movie. And how I'll remember him. I'm partial to his role in Catch-22. What about you, Jack?
He's great in Rosemary's Baby. Oh man, he's
Charles Grodin in Rosemary's Baby.
Charles Grodin is in Rosemary's Baby.
I'm so blinded by Cassavetes and Maude.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too bad with all the fallout from that film with Polanski and everything. But just everyone is top notch in that film, and Charles Grodin has a supporting role, and he's dynamite in it.
Well, now I definitely got to rewatch that.
Yeah, one of his earlier. He's the doctor.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, so one of his earlier roles.
I just found some of his clips from 1980s Letterman. Oh my God, Jack.
Letterman loved having him.
Oh my God, Jack! It's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. He plays it so straight; it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, Letterman called him Happy because of that. He just always had this very stern kind of demeanor on the show, and Letterman's funny. Like, "Hey, Happy, what are you saying?"
Find the clip on YouTube of him bringing his lawyer onto Letterman. It's there. It's just classic comedy. All right. We have a guest here. We don't want to keep him waiting. And we'll ask Raul about Charles Grodin, down the line here. So how do I know Raul? The fact is I don't know Raul. Chicago programming and in the world of Chicago film and showing independent screenings, hosting screenings, there's only a handful of us. I don't live there anymore, so I'm not really there anymore. But if you have ever dipped your toes into it, you most assuredly have heard of Raul Benitez. I know him mostly from Comfort Film, which is Comfort Station, which is a wonderful independent. We'll ask him, what does that even call it? Organization in the middle of Logan Square, Chicago. But he also does wonderful work with the Nightingale, wonderful work with Music Box Theater, and so much more. Let's talk to Raul. Jack, I'll see you on the other side, buddy.
Yes, you will. Here's Raul.
Welcome. Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, Jake. How are you?
Thanks so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you. And also thanks to Jack for introducing me. That was the best introduction I ever had.
Yes.
Voice.
That's what we're hoping for. That's all I want to hear. Jack kills it. He's our personal Don Pardo. So we'll get into kind of the details and nitty gritty of what you do, but I thought it would be fun to start by talking about the weekend of the pandemic, that the 3 days in March when you kind of were on the Titanic and watching the ship go down from the deck. I was working at the New 400 Theater at the time, which is a commercial theater, but still independently owned. What were you doing that weekend?
So, yeah, actually, I work for another organization, nonprofit film organization called Full Spectrum Features.
Okay.
And I've been doing their Chicagoland short series for the past 6 years. And I program that, and every year I bring on some guest curators, and we program the best Chicago-made films of the year. And then it used to be, so it was very, for exhibition, so I would show it here locally, and then I would take it nationally and screen it. But I had another program with them that we had gotten a MacArthur Connections grant for, and it was for a program of a film exchange between Chicago filmmakers and Mexico City filmmakers.
Oh, wow.
We were in the middle of planning that. The plan was that we were going to take Chicago filmmakers, fly them to Mexico City, and we were going to show their films in Mexico City, and the Mexican filmmakers were going to come here later on in the year to Chicago, and we're going to show their films. And we already were booking venues that March,
Really?
and we were in the process of looking to book the flights.
Oh my God!
And and where we were going to stay.
You were deep. You were deep in it.
Yeah, and we had everything planned. We had all the films programmed. We were already talking. We had a really great person in Mexico City, who used to work here in Chicago, and she helped us connect with venues and set that up for us. And we were ready, and we were looking. We were already had some venues booked and everything. And then the pandemic hit, and that week, and so we were kind of like, oh, well, maybe we could still do this in Mexico. And everybody thought, oh, it's going to be a month or two. Like nobody thought it was going to be a year. And so, and then what happened? Like a week or two later, Mexico City closed
entirely.
Yep, they were like, yeah. And so then all the venues had to close, and that was it. That killed.
Was that before or after Chicago closed?
That was after, like a week or two.
Oh, okay.
Because we were still like, oh, we could still do this. We could still fly over there. And we were just kind of like hopefully dreaming.
Right.
Because this is something that we had planned for a while. We were really excited about. And I know the filmmakers were really excited about meeting each other and showing their stuff. And so that all went out the window. And we ended up doing it online. And we did
it virtually.
Yeah, we did it virtually. We did the screening virtually, and we actually had some professional development for the filmmakers that we had set up and did all that virtually, and that all worked really well. And the filmmakers got along great with each other, and they actually still talk with each other today.
Oh, that's great.
The filmmakers, but yeah, the pandemic, that was the immediate effect of the pandemic for a project that I was working on. Also, I had already a lot of programming booked at Comfort Station. To start in April, and once they closed the city, we had to close, and that killed all that programming that I had booked. There's Comfort Station. By the way, you guys were asking, what's Comfort Station?
Yeah,
so Comfort Station is a nonprofit art collective that our headquarters there is in Comfort Station, and that is a Tudor-style building made in the 1920s by the city of Chicago, and it used to be a shelter for public transportation. To wait for public transportation, and there was about 20 of these or so throughout the city. They all looked the same. The city knocked down most of them. There's only 2 left, one here and one in Oak Park. I think it was 2010, the Logan Square Preservation Society hit the city up saying, "Can we can use the space? Don't knock it down." So they leased it to the Logan Square Preservation Society. And they fixed it up and everything. And then they started doing art projects there, art shows, and they did some bands. And then they kind of like did something more. They put together a more formal organization. And then I joined like 7 years ago to be the film programmer there. And all the events there are free.
It's basically right there in the park.
Right in the middle of Logan Square, right across from the monument. We're on our little own island. And we do events there. Normally, pre-pandemic, we were doing almost over 200 events a year there.
Wow.
That's
200?
Yeah, over 200 events.
Oh.
And everybody that works there isn't a volunteer, including myself. So we've had a really strong group of volunteers the past 6 years. So a lot of great things, and it's personally one of the most rewarding things I've done working there.
So wonderful. I used to live around the corner from there, like right before you started. It's such a bummer when I see that. I used to live there like in 2008 or something like that.
Yeah, it was just being used for storage.
Yeah, and it's right across from the Logan Square Blue Line stop. Like if you live off the Blue Line, there's no reason not to check out what's going on.
Right. Yeah. So we've been doing screenings there. They've been doing screenings for a while before I got there, but I took over. We kind of expanded the film programming there, and thanks to my kind of connection with the film community, because I've been with the Chicago Underground Film Festival for over 13 years.
Okay.
I've had connections, so I was able to kind of expand the programming there, and we've won awards. Me and my co-programmer Nando, we've been picked as a Chicago Film Gem 3 times, Film Gem by the New City, and that's picked by our peers.
Yeah.
So
you guys are always on that list. I had the pleasure of meeting Nando on an episode of No Coast Cinema.
Yes, on No Coast, and so me and Nando, we've been on there, 3 times, and I was told that after the 4th time we would be in the Hall of Fame. If they're not even going to cover us anymore. Nice. But that's a great picture of the outdoor screenings we do, and we have a very popular series where we show silent films and we pair them with local bands.
Wonderful.
And so that's actually a big program for us, is the silent film series. But we do a lot of stuff. Our programming is very broad based there because we have such a different crowd all the time in Logan Square, and the crowd's changed over the years because of the gentrification of the neighborhood. But we have really great. This was our 1-month pandemic screenings. We were calling it socially distant outdoor screenings.
Did it work?
We were limiting people to 25.
Okay.
But we filled all those spots.
Sure.
Every night. They gave us 1 month, and people were thanking us. They were like, "We're so glad you guys are doing something."
What was that like? Putting on a show like that in the middle of a pandemic like that?
The only difference was, besides, I don't think there was no real difference besides that we had to cordon the area off, and we put little spots that people could sit in, 6 feet from each other, and we required people to have masks, and that's about it. And they couldn't use the washroom, obviously. Usually we leave it open, but it was great, and people were very responsive. They were happy that we were showing stuff. And if we didn't have restrictions, we probably would have had 100 people.
Right.
But it was great, and us and the other program really look forward to doing it because it was a tough bunch of months after March, right?
Yeah. So is there anything like that coming up?
Yeah. So now I got 4 months of programming coming up starting in June.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
let's hope nothing happens.
No, we're gonna be fine, I think. But we're gonna just not have like hardly any restrictions on audience. Before the pandemic, we were averaging 80 to 100 people on our lawn.
Wow.
For all the screenings. So we're gonna do all outdoor screenings for these next 4 months, starting in June and September. So, and I got all those booked. All those.
Wonderful.
Those are all Wednesday nights starting in June.
What kind of shows are those?
So
what are you showing?
Yeah. So that's so what we did was we usually do like thematic months.
Okay.
During the pre-pandemic, but what we're doing now is we kind of condensed all those programs into 4 months. So we have like this guest curator program that we usually do for a month.
Sure.
But we're doing one a month now. So on June 2nd, we're going to have Ratika Kushek, who is a PhD film student at the University of Chicago, and she's going to show us some great Indian films from an Indian filmmaker.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
And that'll be the 2nd, and then on the 9th, we're teaming up with Southside Projections, organization on the South Side, and we're gonna show. Oh man, what movie we're gonna show? I forget what movie we're gonna show with him, but the June 16th, my friend Jason Kaufman has this collection of 16mm basement films, like church basement films. We call it church basement cinema, and it's these films that they just show at churches to scare kids.
Okay.
And
I know a bunch of people that would be into that.
Yeah.
Jason Kaufman is a wonderful person.
Yeah. So he finds these crazy films on eBay and buys them because nobody else wants them.
He has curated some of the craziest shit I have ever seen.
Yeah,
has come from him. He's so mild. He's such a chill human being, and he curates the craziest shit. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna show this movie called "The Girl Who Ran Out at Night," or "Girl Who Ran Out at Night." Yeah, at night. And that's not movie made in 1974. He thinks that it's never been shown theatrically.
Cool.
So I'm going to be showing that on 16 millimeter, and then we're going to show this other movie called Run Jimmy Run.
You're showing that outside
on 16 millimeter.
Cool.
So, and then the 23rd, we have this series called Release and Abandoned Forgotten Oddities of the Home Video Era, where we show films that were that were released on VHS but never theatrically or on DVD.
Okay.
And my friend Paul Furtag helps us curate that, and we're showing this movie called Crime Wave.
That sounds familiar.
From 1985.
Is that the Coens?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Let's see. But yeah, so we're going to show that. Usually we try to show them in on VHS because we have a VHS player.
You're not going to believe this, but Crime Wave is Sam Raimi.
Yep.
It is Sam Raimi. So the Coens were a part of that at some point.
All right.
Well, look it up.
Yeah,
because I feel like Coens like edited it.
They wrote it.
Jack, that's not the same movie.
Oh, it's a different one.
This is a different movie. This is called Crime Wave by director John Pazis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fun.
What's this?
Yeah. The tagline is, and I'll read you the tagline. A young director intent on making the greatest color crime movie ever can't seem to finish his script. He has a beginning and an end, but he can't quite figure out the middle. The daughter of his landlord, excited to have a real movie person living nearby, tries to help by putting him in touch with a man who wants to collaborate on a script called The Strange Dr. Jolly.
You got me. Okay. I want to watch it.
I mean, there's already a beginning and an ending, so I look forward to hearing more about that.
By the way, I love, Jack, how you just showed up like Iron Chef, like squeeze on. Can I say something really quick?
This needs to be said and seen.
Thank you.
So we're showing that that's on June 23rd, and then
it sounds like a great lineup so far.
June 30th, we'll be showing a silent film with the local band Those Black Dogs.
Cool.
But they haven't picked their film yet, but they'll be doing a live score.
Wonderful. I love that. The few times I've been a part of that, I've never done that in Chicago. I did some of that in Burlington, but it's such a fun experience.
Yeah, people really love those, and the great thing about it that I really love is like a lot of those silent films we've shown, because the audience is younger, some of them have never seen them.
Sure. And
they're only there because of the music aspect of it.
Well, and Logan Square has such a vibrant music scene that it's so cool to see the film scene be able to use that kind of variation. Yep. All you got to do is look for that statue and you'll be able to find comfort
right across the street.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know we've been doing this series for like 6 years now, and there's a really old picture of Comfort Station.
What it looked like when it was.
There's even an older one where there was an awning.
Really?
Yeah, but that one's a really old one where we don't know what happened to that sign either.
Oh.
See where it says West Park Public Comfort Station.
Okay.
But anyway, so it's we've been doing it for many years, and we had many great bands. We had a band. We had a band where the singer sang opera, professional opera, and we showed the silent version of Joan of Arc, and he did like these amazing like opera pieces.
Wow!
And we didn't know because we give them full like, you do whatever you want. We don't know it. We won't interfere. So we don't know what's going to happen until that night.
I bet that was received very well.
And he busted out an opera, and afterwards people were like, I would have paid money to hear that.
But they're just sobbing and stuff.
And we've had like chamber orchestras do screenings. We've had there's this really famous like cyberpunk band called Angel Spit. I did Nosferatu, and we had
cool.
We had like a crazy full house for that.
Do you know? You said that you haven't chosen the silent film that's coming up yet. You just know what the band is.
What we do is we give a list of public domain silent films to the band, and they choose one that they feel that should be.
That sounds like fun.
And the funny thing is, over the years, the bands picked like the darkest silent films.
How long is the list?
It's about 70 films.
In your own personal collection, or just...
No.
Okay.
They're in the public domain. Normally, we get them from archive.org.
I got you.
But yeah, that's a very popular series for us. So I'm excited to do it again this year.
Nice. Are you going to do the proper exchange with Mexico City again?
Oh yeah. So what we're gonna do is, and that's funny you asked that, because I was just talking to my director over at Full Spectrum. We're gonna try to get maybe there's too much inside game, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna do like we're gonna try to get a grant to do those screenings in person.
That'd be great.
Here in Chicago and Mexico City. So, and that'll the grant will probably be for 2022. So that would happen in 2022.
Sure.
But I'm really anxious to show those because the films that we chosen were amazing. One of the films won a Mexican Academy Award.
Oh, okay.
So,
nice.
We have some quality films in that program. And I sent a picture. It says to you guys of that program. It was a poster.
Oh, I might not. I might have to send it to Jack.
Yeah. Anyway, so
we have this one.
That's the Chicagoland Shorts one.
Chicagoland Shorts.
But there's another one that I sent you guys. But anyway, yeah.
Okay,
so. Yeah. We're working on that to show those in person next year or 2022. Wonderful. So, yep.
Wonderful. I had the pleasure of seeing Chicagoland Shorts Volume 2 at Facets, I think.
Oh, yes.
However many years ago. What volume are you on
7
at this point?
Yeah,
7. Those are really, really successful series.
Yeah.
How much of it is you alone and how much of it is like Full Spectrum? I don't know how it's all split
up.
It's
a program of Full Spectrum.
Okay.
And I'm the lead programmer for it, but every year we bring on 2 guest curators to help me curate that. Normally, like last 6 was supposed to premiere at the Music Box, and it never ended up happening.
Sure.
Because we ended up doing it online because of the pandemic. Another thing of mine that got affected. But over the years, we premiered at the MCA, and then I toured it around the city to various venues. And then I screened it in New York. I think I sent you some pictures of me showing it at the Spectacle Theater in New York. I screened it in Mexico City. I screened it in Seattle, LA. So we screened it in Portland.
How do people respond to like distinctly Chicago films?
I usually it varies. Like some people are very interested. Some people are like, why do I want to see Chicago stuff? But it's funny because I showed it at Echo Park in LA, the nonprofit film organization, and most of the people that came were ex-Chicagoans.
Really?
Yeah, that
makes sense. Actually, I found out that the best Chicago pizza is in LA because they're all ex-Chicago pizza makers.
Yeah,
so you can't even get it in Chicago. It's so funny.
Yeah. So, but another thing that came out of the pandemic was the Chicago Cinema Workers Fund that me and a couple other local film people got together, and what we did was we created a fund where we took donations, and all the money went to theater workers that were affected by the pandemic, and that was our little logo there, and we raised a ton of money for it. I think $10,000, and
wow,
people applied to get some of the funding, and we gave it to people that were like people that worked at the AMC and like Cinemark and Landmark. We gave that money to those people.
Who was behind, aside from you, who was behind that?
So Mimi from the Chicago International Film Festival.
Okay.
Christy LeMaster from the Nightingale, and also the MCA at the time. Kat Sachs from the Reader. Who else was on there? Let me think now. Jacqueline Stewart helped us one night. We did like a bingo to raise money, and like an online bingo, and she was the bingo caller for us.
Oh, nice.
Jacqueline Stewart is she does the host of the Silent Cinema on TCM Network.
Oh, wow.
And also she teaches at the University of Chicago, and she has her own organization on the South Side, film organization on the South Side over there.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so that was really successful, and we were very happy, and we were able to give out money during that year to people that needed it. So that was one of the things also that came out from the pandemic.
This seemed like you got that going pretty quick. I remember, like, it didn't take very long for you guys to start doing that, huh?
Yeah, no. There was some planning involved, and what happened was I was able to bring on full spectrum features to kind of underwrite it and do the nitty gritty, background stuff for us, and so they were able to do that for us, and then that's how we were taking money. Oh, so here I'll give you who was in it. So it was me, and then Sabrina Craig, who's assistant director at the University of Chicago. Emily Eddy, who's a director at the Nightingale Cinema, which I also program at, which is the micro cinema in Noble Square. Then there's a picture of it. We do mostly experimental film and like expanded cinema stuff there. And that's how it looks inside. It's basically people actually live there.
I think they said that they had I don't know if they filled it, but they were looking for, like, they look for roommates / curators.
Yeah,
if I was a certain age, I'm like, that is just the coolest thing I could ever imagine.
Yeah, so we actually got a grant. The Nightgo got a grant this year from that.
That's great.
From Hyde Park Arts. They actually had a ton of money to dish out to local organizations. And so with that money that we got, we started a Nightingale in Residence.
Wonderful.
Which we are in the process of choosing who's going to get that grant. But
how many applications so far?
I believe the applications have already closed.
Okay.
So I think we got 7 or 8. So we're in the process of going through those and doing interviews. But we'll be doing some screenings. We won't be doing screenings at the Nightingale itself because of the pandemic.
Right.
And we want to protect the roommates that live there. But we're going to be doing some screenings at the Hyde Park Art Center this summer, and then they're going to do one with me at Comfort Station as an outdoor screening.
Wonderful.
So Emily Eddy was in it, and then Mimi Plausch, who's the artistic director at Chicago International Film Festival. And then Yuki Sakamoto Solomon, who also works for SIF. And we had some help with some local Chicago film press to get the word out. And but that was something that we're really happy that we did, and was rewarding that we were able to help some people.
That's great.
Do that.
So you have great what's the word I'm looking for? A great overview of this entire world. You've been doing it for a long time, and you lived through this entire pandemic. How much will change now that things are coming back to life versus, like, is it going to go right back to normal? What now?
Well, I think for audiences, it's going to be normal. Once everything starts opening up more and more, I think the normality of going to movies is going to be the same, in my opinion. I know, right? I went to a movie a month ago at the AMC in Skokie to see Godzilla versus King Kong, and that definitely was a weird experience because they limited the amount of people inside, and you had to wear masks. And when you got popcorn, they had all the popcorn pre-made.
Really?
And so you just went up there and grabbed the popcorn, and then they handed you if you wanted butter, they handed you a cup of butter.
Really?
to pour yourself. 'Cause normally
Okay.
they put it under the machine, right?
Sure.
So that was a weird experience, and the butter was not warm.
What else? What else? Did you get drink?
Yeah, you can
This
still
is the
get
minutia that I love because I
yeah.
work in the
No,
movie
you can
theater,
get
so.
drinks like at least at this AMC, they have those Pepsi mix machines or whatever, so you can still get drinks that way.
Oh, right. But the
but everything-
AMCs, like, don't they like they filter people through? Like they kind of, like they shove a lot of people through to get through that traffic.
Yeah, they do, but there wasn't that many. There wasn't that many people there.
I guess that's fair.
But our screening did kind of fill up, as in like whoever the amount of lot was allowed. And I'm glad that I saw the movie there because the movie was meant to be seen in that giant screen. But there was like some teenagers talking, and I'm like, this is pretty normal. Like teenagers talking during the movie.
Right.
So it's fine. Somebody brought their baby, and their baby was crying during the movie.
Really?
So I'm like, it's pretty normal. So, and I'm guessing now that things are being allowed, opening up more. I think this weekend they're going to allow 60% capacity for movie theaters.
Okay. How much is a ticket now?
It's the same.
It's the same. They didn't do anything special.
No.
Okay.
It's still the same price. What I think is going to change is mostly in the film festival world. Well, two things. In the film festival world, I think organizations have realized that going hybrid is the way to go to get maximum audience.
That's interesting.
And I'll give you an example. Ann Arbor Film Festival, which is like the largest experimental film festival in the nation, they were the first large film festival after the pandemic hit and things closed. They did theirs all online, and what they found out was that the audiences were like 400 or 500 people, more than it would have been in person.
Is that right?
Yes, and so and because they made agreements with the filmmakers that was going to be worldwide. They had people from all over the world tuning in. That never would have happened in person.
I had no idea.
So
That's so interesting.
So I think film festivals are gonna do hybrid from now on because of this, because they can expand, their audience, so they can do an in person and get money for an in person and get money from online. And I think over the year, I think a lot of people got used to doing this online film festival experience. A lot of people got to do film festivals they never would have been able to have access to because you have to go in person.
Right.
I also think that as a result of this, I think the exclusivity of some film festivals is kind of, that facade is gone now. And this is my opinion, because now I could attend Sundance. I don't have to be some rich dude person to attend Sundance. I could watch it online. You know what I mean? So I think that in that aspect, I think that's going to be, things are going to change.
Do you think that's a positive and a negative, or either?
In my opinion, anytime you open up, you break open these gatekeepers is a good thing, because gatekeeping is a big problem in the film world.
Sure.
There's a lot of gatekeepers. There's a lot of programming gatekeepers. There's theaters that are gatekeepers. There's film critics who are gatekeepers. So I think breaking that whole gatekeeping thing is a good thing, because film needs to be more democratized, and
sure,
there's people that do want to see these artsy films, like normal people.
Right.
It's not just for artsy people and film programmers who are in the know. It should be for everyone, and so I think in the end, I think this is a good thing. I do think also that there's going to be this hybrid model at movie theaters and studios, because I think studios now see that they can make money as well doing hybrid online and in person. I think though, like times when movies are out in the theaters, I think that's going to shorten even more.
Yeah, I think the window is going to start depleting.
The windows are going to be shorter now, because they know that people are willing to watch them online.
Yeah.
And I know theaters hate this, but it's just the way it is. I mean, things change.
Yeah.
And I think that's a change that's coming.
That's kind of the plus of doing the micro cinema game, is that it stays kind of consistent.
Yeah,
A really great show. You get 100 people. That's an amazing show.
Absolutely. And I think this whole doom and gloom about that it's the end of the theatrical experience, I think that was all overstated.
Sure.
I never felt that it was going to be that doom or gloomy. People are going to come back.
Yeah.
And, also, yes, there's a lot of streaming options, but people still want to go out.
Right.
Just the way it is. People like the social experience.
Right.
And so, I mean, look, people came out to watch all these old movies like Jurassic Park, because people just wanted to be out.
Right.
That's why these drive-ins were so successful over the pandemic.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think those kids that are talking in the theater, that they will end up like, it's a Friday night, let's all go over to Jake's house or whatever and pay $20 to go watch Kong versus Godzilla, and then the theater experience will be filled more with?
No, I think that's not going to change.
No, it's just going to be the social kind of thing.
Don't want to be by their parents on weekends.
That's fair.
I mean, I didn't want to.
No, you're right.
Did you?
No, I mean,
you didn't want to hang out with your parents on the weekend?
I guess not.
So I went to the movies or went out somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that's not going to change.
That's reasonable.
But I think like our houses are going to be just fine.
Yeah.
It was tough for them. It was, and more tough for them than it was the big chains. The big chains could totally get themselves bailed out.
Well, how do you feel about Cinemark closing over in Evanston?
Well, from what I understand, Cinemark didn't like the lease there. Apparently, they had a really bad lease with that building owner.
Well, now's the time, eh?
And they were wanting to get out of there for a while, and they finally were able to get out of it.
Interesting.
Because other Cinemark locations didn't close.
Yeah. Well, at the new 400, that was our biggest. It's down the street, so we're this tiny little 4-house, and that's the ultimate theater. So it was always this unreasonable competition with us. Even though if you look back at it, I'm sorry, I knew this was going to happen. You see, Raul, this is what I knew this was going to happen. This is my mother who watches the show, and I did hang out with you. And so I didn't need to get into the details of it, but now I love you, Mom. I did want to hang out with you. You understand.
My mom was like, why are you still here?
My mother ended up going to see Anchorman with me and like 10 of my friends, and she was going to sit alone. And we were like, come, you best sit with us. And so I got to watch Anchorman for the first time with my mother. It was a great experience.
What was the last movie you saw before the pandemic?
Oh my gosh. I watched a family screening of Onward with
what?
Well, at the show we would do family shows.
Oh.
So
at the 400.
At the 400, so it would be at midnight or whatever. We'd all watch Avengers before everyone else and stay up until 3 a.m. Love you, Mom. And so the last one we were able to do was Onward, and it's not like it was a movie that I particularly wanted to see, but it was kind of a sweet ending to the whole thing, because that was like the last movie that we really had, and it's a very kind little movie. I have a problem watching those kinds of movies at 2 a.m, but sure. It's what it is.
Yeah, the last movie I saw at the theater was The Last Jedi.
Oh, for real?
2019.
What stopped you from going back to the theater that whole time?
Well, as a film programmer, I really don't go out to the theater that often.
That's fair.
It has to be something really compelling for me to go see. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, obviously. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I hadn't seen anything since The Last Jedi in the theater until I saw Godzilla King Kong a month ago.
Didn't bother with Skywalker, huh?
No, wait a minute.
Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker was the last movie, so I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I'm just making sure. We had to clear this up. I'll tell you a funny story. I worked Rise of Skywalker, and we were expecting a Star Wars weekend, which usually was, I worked 5 Star Wars movies, and they were all smash weekends, except for Solo. That got a little iffy. And then Rise of Skywalker comes out, and no one comes. and like people are coming, but just the proportions are just so much slower.
Sure.
To the point where on Sunday I had to call the Cinemark in Evanston and ask them if people were seeing the movie in Evanston to make sure that I wasn't personally doing something to keep people out of this movie theater. And they luckily told me that the movie was bombing over there too. And it was just the most surprising thing. I have never, in the 6 years that I worked there, ever had to call some other theater to see if like, how's this movie playing over there? And they're like, just no one's coming to see it.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
I thought it was interesting. The people who were going to see it came to see it. And then that was the same weekend that Knives Out came out. Full circle, I guess.
Which I love Knives Out.
It's a good one, right? It's on Prime right now. So
yeah, so that's a whole other 1 hour conversation about,
I know, right?
About Star Wars people.
Yeah, we'll do that for the next episode.
If you have one, I will want to be on it because I have a lot to say. But anyway, so that was the last movie I saw before the pandemic.
I got a bunch of friends that grew up with the prequels. So
yeah,
they're like,
I grew up with the prequels.
So they just super love them, and it's totally different. Hey, I know, right? So the sequel is coming out. The Knives Out sequel is going to be coming out, and it's going to have Edward Norton and Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean,
Kate Hudson.
I'm always wary of these movies that have like all these movie stars, because usually they don't work.
Right.
Because
he just pulled it off that last time though. That was a nice
balance. They did. But I think they have even bigger stars this time.
That's true. And that was around the same time they did Murder on the Orient Express, which I explicitly fell asleep during in the theater.
No, that movie was terrible.
I absolutely just passed out.
No,
and, regulars were watching me. I'm a manager at a movie theater, just sleeping in the back of it.
Yeah, no, that was just a bad movie.
So you were telling us about Comfort Film, and we'll get Jack in here soon. I was just wondering, do you have any upcoming stuff with Nightingale or Music Box or anything like that? Any other?
No, okay, yeah, I haven't even talked about my Music Box stuff. But that's me. That's my picture from the New City Gem thing a couple years ago. Like the first one I was in. No, well, my first screening is going to be of any type is going to be the one at Cover Station on June 2nd.
Wonderful.
That'll be my first one. And then the Nightingale screenings are still kind of TBD. We haven't set those up yet, but that would be my first one. Coming soon. I will be there.
Wonderful. So what's going on at the Music Box then?
No, well, the Music Box, I just wanted to tell you about. So I do.
Sorry, I'm too impatient.
That's okay. So I do like independent film programming. Also, by the way, Cinepocalypse.
Okay.
That used to be at the Music Box.
Yeah.
I joined them and I was head of their submissions for the festival, but obviously the pandemic killed the festival last year.
Sure.
So, and we're not going to do it again this year. That will be happening hopefully 2022.
When did you join Cinepocalypse?
2019.
2019.
They asked me to come on and do, curate and take care of the submissions we get on Film Freeway.
Right.
And so we were in the process of putting that together, the festival, and then the pandemic hit, and that was it for the festival for 2020.
I mean, I don't want to kick shit around, but Cinepocalypse had a little bit of a rocky road.
They did. So they brought in all new people.
Good.
All Chicago people. And so we had all Chicago programming team for the most part. So we were going to change things around. We had a lot of great plans, etc. And the pandemic hit, and these things happen with pandemics.
Well, it'll be a good fresh reload.
Yeah, and so we're gonna totally do a refresh, and we'll be back hopefully in 2022 with something even bigger and better.
Nice.
So anyway, I do independent film programming, and I did. I have a friend of mine, Viviana Garcia Besnet in Mexico City, who runs her own micro cinema. And I sent you some pictures. It was called Baticine. And she runs an organization. So her family was the Calderon family, who did a lot of Mexican films 30s to the 50s, and she has all her family's archives. And so I sent you. I don't know if you got those, but I sent you pictures of like her microcinema and her archives, and it was just a bunch of stacks of films. I went to go visit her, and because I found out that she had restored the first 2 El Santo films. That was my screening of Chicagoland Shorts in Mexico City at a radio station.
At a radio station?
Yes, at an illegal radio station.
That's cool.
Called Radio Nopal.
I think this is
it.
Yeah.
That is her. Those are her family film archives. Those are all films that her family made.
Really?
And they had their own movie theater chain, which they had some theaters in Texas and stuff, and they also had their own film distribution called Azteca Films, which distributed Mexican films here in the United States during 30s, 40s, and 50s, all the way up to the 70s. And there was actually an Azteca Film distribution office here in Chicago. So I met her, and I booked her she restored 2 El Santo films. Nicholas Winfriend. Yeah. So he helped her with some money to restore those films. And so I showed those at the Music Box 2019. And I had a great turnout for those. And I brought her in from Mexico, and she introduced the films. Nice. And it was great. So what I ended up doing last year was the Music Box did their Music Box of Horrors at Drive-In in October. Did you attend any of those?
No, I didn't get a chance.
Okay. So I did. I programmed one night for them. My friend Viviana restored La Llorona, the 1933 film, which was the first Mexican horror sound film.
Okay.
And I showed it there and at the drive-in, and that sold out. So that was kind of like the independent program I've been doing. I'll be doing more things at the Music Box here, either this year or next year, for some more Mexican B films from her archive. So I'm excited to do that, and that's another thing that I've been doing in partnership with her.
That's fabulous.
And I've been to Mexico to meet her, and I have friends at the Cineteca Nacional, which is the National Cinema Palace in Mexico City. I have friends that work there, and I have a friend that does film restoration for them, and so I have very strong ties to that community in Mexico. So that's hoping I'm bringing some more stuff here to Chicago, because as you know, we have a very large Mexican community here, and so these are films that they know, and they don't get shown here in a theatrical venue. So I'm hoping to do more of that stuff later on this year and next year.
Wonderful. Hey, let's bring Jack out here.
Hello.
How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing okay, thanks. This has been a very cool conversation. I'm hearing an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from right now. Can anyone else hear that?
Yeah. Raul, do you have that? Is there like the echo button?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's on.
Okay. Oh, maybe we're good now. No, I don't hear it.
How's that?
Whatever it was before that.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
Amen.
I had lots to talk about.
Oh, we still have an echo. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. This has been a very cool conversation, though, and I'm really glad to know that you have. Oh, there goes the echo. It's gone. Oh, back. Now it's gone. That's
is
good.
It gone? Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to keep redirecting people back to your website, because you just do so much, and there's just this vast kind of endless amount of programming that you do. I'm kind of amazed. It's obvious that you, like you said, you don't go out to the theater much to get to see stuff because of all the time you've been doing. But please go to Raul's website and check out all of these great theaters that he's been doing some excellent programming with. I had a question for you, which you kind of answered. It was going to be about the Comfort Theater, and then also the Nightingale. That's kind of how you answered it. But it was going to be about how you really curate more offbeat types of cinema, and
Yeah,
more geared toward that sort of thing.
yeah, sure. Like I'm a genre film fan. I used to attend Fantastic Fest every year, which is the largest genre film festival in the United States, in Austin, Texas. That's run by the Alamo Draft House.
Mhm.
So I used to go to that. So, genre film's a thing, and I have friends that are in the genre community. And so I've been doing this releasing abandoned series because most of that stuff is genre films. There were so many genre films that came out in VHS during the 80s.
Sure. But you also do the cinema where it's like found footage or the
we
basement
done
stuff that you found.
Yeah, I did some screenings of found footage of stuff, films that I found at various places on 16 millimeter. I found copies of Cosmos, the Carl Sagan series.
Oh yeah.
So I found I found these films at this like poster shop here in Chicago. I won't name them because they might find out that I found these in there. But they had a sale, and I was like, man, he had like there was like a shelf of just like 16 millimeter film cans, or no, it was actually a pallet. And I was like, man, what are these? So I started looking through them, and I recognized some of the titles. I'm like, you know what? These seem really familiar. So I looked them up, and they were Cosmos titles from the original series. And they were what they were telescene prints because Cosmos was filmed on video,
Mm-hmm.
they transferred them to 60 millimeter for educational use only.
Oh.
And these were meant for schools.
Right.
And so, and they were made in Skokie, the prints. And these prints, so I ended up buying them before, and I ran out of there before he found out what I got.
What a steal!
And the prints were brand new. They were like usually the spoke holes of brand new prints. They have a sticker over them.
Right.
We still had the security stickers on them.
Wow, what a find!
And I got really lucky that I found them. And I went back over the years and found more episodes. But what happened was I was like, man, I should show these. So obviously I had to find out who had the rights to those. So I reached out to PBS. PBS told me that they only had the rights to the digital version of the series, and they asked me, where did you find these? And I was like, listen, I just found them. So then they were like, wow,
they were in a school dumpster.
So they were like, you should contact the Carl Sagan Foundation and see what they tell you. So I did. I contacted the Carl Sagan Foundation. They got back to me. They're like, this is wonderful that you found these. And I was like, well, I want to show them. And so they're like, okay, we're going to make you sign this contract. And then what ended up happening was that Carl Sagan's wife had to sign off on it to allow me to show those. And she gave me free rights.
Oh, that's great.
Amazing.
So the first, I showed those like 4 years ago at Comfort Station. I did it as outdoor screening. I had a huge turnout. And then I got an astronomer to talk between we were doing film changes. He talked to the audience and it happens that this astronomer who worked at the planetarium happened to run a blog talking about the series.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
So it was good. It was great. We had a huge turnout. It was really as a programmer, this is stuff that you live for,
right?
Because most of the audience had never seen them before, not on TV and anywhere.
And that's not the sort of thing that you had really envisioned would happen going into it.
No.
Initially, you're just like, I just have these films which would be great to show, especially given their pristine condition. And then there's all of these other facets to it that really
exactly.
Just
So the event turned out great. It turns out that the head of the planetarium was at our screening. Her name's Michelle,
so
but
cool.
I can't remember her last name. And so she's like, "Hey, Raul, during the screening, I was texting Carl Sagan's son." Telling him about the screening, and I was sending him pictures.
That's great.
Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Do you ever do it? Does the planetarium ever do shows?
Well, they have their own like screening series which is in that dome,
Sure.
with that crazy projector. But the planetarium was great, and then they sent me another astronomer the next year.
That's so cool.
And they helped me promote it.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I showed some again. I showed all of them already, but the last time I just repeated a couple of them. I did this NASA 50th anniversary moon landing screening in 2019, and I showed an episode of Cosmos, and I showed some NASA films that I got from a friend of mine in San Francisco that he had in his collection of like NASA moon landing 60 millimeter. And these were films that NASA made internally to show to their staff.
That Kubrick made.
No, not that. Yeah.
In Arizona.
Because we didn't go to the moon the first time.
We haven't been to the moon, Jack. We haven't been.
Go talk to your friend, Joe Rogan.
My dad will kill me for being on this show saying this.
So, yeah. So, I showed those like 3 years in a row. I had great turnouts. People really loved those. And they had, they were happy to see them. And Carl Sagan obviously is such an icon. I got really lucky that I got those. And I actually got to show those with a film organization in Detroit. I did an outdoor screening of those as well. I'm hoping to show them in more places. I was supposed to show them in New Orleans with Shotgun Cinema, I believe. They do like this whole science series.
Okay.
But the pandemic hit, and I never got to go to New Orleans to do that.
Sure.
Hopefully I'll be able to do those in the future with them. But yeah, so that's one of the kind of crazy things that we show at Comfort Station. And all the screenings are free. Just show up.
Just show up.
How many volunteers participate?
So in for the film series, I have me and then Nando, who's my co-programmer since the beginning. And then I have Emily Perez and Matthew Tapney, who are our assistants, and they help us out with the series. And then Conversation itself has like an art team, a music team, and then we have like a executive director, etc.
And have there been any other kinds of surprises, kind of like with the Cosmos series, where it just really turned into something completely different than you had envisioned it?
Other than the amazing crowds we had for those. Yeah. So I mean, that was a surprise.
How do you recreate that?
You can't recreate it.
How do you build the wheel a second time?
Yeah. Again, that's just something that, as a film programmer, you live for, to do something like that.
What other kind of like Indiana Jones gold have you found like that?
Oh, one year we had like a street photography exhibit, and one of the collectors that we had displays of his photos. He actually had a collection of Scopatone films. So Scopatone was a video jukebox in the 60s where they played 16 millimeter films, and you put in 50 cents and it played a film.
What?
If you do a search, you could see.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Scopatone, and they were originally made in France, and then somebody got the patent to make them here in the United States, and they were being made here in Chicago.
How long? How long is that window?
It wasn't that long.
Like 3 years or something?
No, it was maybe like 10 years. In France, what they were showing Yay Yay group films. So Yay Yay music, which is like French pop music in the 60s, and they were showing these. It was like music videos.
That's so cool.
I'm trying to find a good picture to pull up, but they're all very
small.
So
he had a collection of those. It happens that the guy that was running that we had teamed up to do the show with, his name's Ron Slattery. He happened to get a call from a guy saying, "Hey, I got a Scopatone. You want to buy it?" So he bought it, and we had it on display at Comfort Station, an actual machine.
What is the machine? Is it like a kinetoscope or like?
No.
What's it like?
This is amazing mechanical machine where you have there's like a carousel of 60 millimeter films, and then you put in your money like a jukebox. You press the number, it loads the 60 millimeter film and plays it
That's so cool.
on a screen, and so we've had one on display for people to see, and then we showed this collector's films, Scopatone films, and we had to actually. There you go. That's how they look like.
How cool!
We
is
actually
all of
had
that?
like the red one, not the one toward the right. We had one like similar to that one on display.
I'm obsessed with
Crazy.
this.
That's so cool.
The funny thing is, the film,
Wow.
the prints themselves are the sound is optical sound. So we had to find a projector that you did optical sound. It turns out nobody had one in Chicago.
Really?
No,
Did you have to go onto eBay to get that?
No, we were asking everywhere around
You'd
town.
think even like James Bond would have something.
Nope, James
for
Bond
you.
did not have one.
Jack, I don't know if you know this, but the ultimate projectionist in Chicago's name is James Bond.
Fantastic.
That's a fact.
Yeah, so James Bond didn't even have one.
I love it.
Legendary. He's a legendary figure.
So there's this
I'm
guy.
on board with this.
There's this guy on this guy called Urbanski Films, and he does, he sells parts for projectors and all this other stuff. He happened to have had one.
Wow.
So
Was
we
it working?
bought it. He fixed it, and we bought it from him.
Just to get this damn Scopatone machine working.
Just to play these films.
Oh,
because you couldn't play them on a normal projector.
I see.
We had to get a special one. He had one. We bought it from him, and we were able to do the screening of Scopatone films, and they were all like 60s American bands.
That's so cool.
Garage bands and pop groups.
Where is it now?
The projector, I think Ron Slattery still has it. And then the collector, he still has those films, because he was actually very reluctant to show those because some of them were in pristine condition and they had never been played. So, but we convinced him to play them, and now I'm telling the audience, like, listen, this is a rare opportunity because some of these have never been played. You're gonna get to watch them one time, and that's it. And then this guy's gonna put them away. So we showed these.
That's the beauty of these shows, man.
So we showed them. People were like amazed. We had a big turnout for those. And then we did it again the next year. But what we did was, in the machine that he had bought, the Scopatone machine, there were still films in it. So we took some of them out. It turns out some of the films were like striptease films. So we played those.
Naturally.
The penny arcades.
And that's what's were in these Scopatone. Somebody had filled them with striptease films. This particular one that he got. But yeah, so that was one of the amazing things that we got to do. Also, and that was something that just showed up and we did it, and people came, and we also, the same collector had these amazing 3D slides. They used to make this camera that took 3D photographs, and you make them into slides, and you needed a special projector to exhibit these in 3D. And we showed those, and they were crazy. Somebody took a picture of their turkey in the oven in 3D.
I don't know if I just didn't hear you. What year were those pictures?
Those were I believe they were like late 50s.
Cool.
I don't remember the name of the.
This is like James Cameron's wet dream.
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the. It was just a photo camera. It wasn't like a.
Sure.
But I can't remember the name of the camera itself. But I think it had like 3 lenses. It was just the regular people, and they just took pictures of whatever normal things in 3D and made them into slides. And he collects these slides. They come up once in a while. And so we showed those that night. We had a DJ. He played like this sci-fi atmospheric music while we watched the slides.
Are these the sorts of things that you can incorporate into hybrid entertainment and showing that to people at home, or is that something?
Yeah, I mean, it was for people. It was just for normal people to do at home. But I think it didn't really last very long, I believe. And so I believe these photographs, these 3D slides, are very rare to come. And so when they come out, he got a bunch of them. And so we showed those one year. At Conversation. I mean, that's the weird stuff we like to do there that comes up, and rare opportunity to see things that typically you would not see anywhere else.
Is Comfort Station going to be moving towards a more hybrid model? Or
no, we do not do any online stuff.
No interest.
You have to be there to see it.
You have to show up. So we don't do any online. We didn't do any online stuff over the pandemic. We just kind of went into hibernation. Except for that 1 month where we showed outdoor films last year.
Do you think... Well, we'll have to have you back on the show to see how that really affected things.
Yeah, I'll be more
with your shows coming up, because I'm genuinely curious to see if that screwed things up. I mean, I know that everybody in Logan, people are aping to do independent stuff and go out, and this is the kind of thing that people are looking to do. So I doubt it'll be that much of a dent, but I am curious to see what, having a year of comfort film is like, Yeah,
I personally expect big crowds, actually. And the funny thing is, we partner with a lot of local film organizations because their venues are shut down still. So when they found out that we were doing, they reached out to us and said, "Can we partner to do some stuff?"
Oh, that's great.
Like the Chicago Film Society, we're going to do something with them.
Oh, good.
Southside Projections, we're doing something with them. Cinephile Chicago, we're going to do a screening with them.
You got everybody.
Yeah, they all. I mean, I know everyone. They're all friends. But we're like, yeah, come. We'll be happy to partner. We have a space.
Right.
So we're excited to see what they bring to us to show this summer, because Chicago Film Society, they do screenings at Northeastern, and they haven't been able to, and they're not going to be able to again this year.
The one show I ever saw of theirs was at Cinema Borealis.
Oh yeah,
which is the best show I've ever been to.
Which one did you go see there?
I saw. Oh my God, I want to call it Imagination Land, but it wasn't called Imagination Land. It was this old 30s movie that was like basically it's an American Pickle, but it was shot back in the 30s.
Huh.
And it was like this Jewish guy wakes up in the future and is like, what a world. It's really, really fun. And it was a musical, and it was like whatever studio spent the most money ever to make this movie. And then it bombed really hard. And then MGM or whoever it was like, we're not going to spend any more money doing this shit. Imagine that. I think it's actually called Imagine That or Imagine This.
That's so funny.
Because the guy actually goes, imagine that. And it was the best show ever. It was like walking into...
It's called Just Imagine 1930.
Just Imagine.
With Maureen O'Sullivan.
Imagine.
But Cinema Borealis is amazing.
It's the one time I could find that it was open. It's like this miraculous, a door opens and you go up this shitty flight of stairs, and it's the greatest place to ever watch a film. There's recliners everywhere and every kind of projector you can imagine in a wood paneled room. It's almost like it was like I imagined it. It didn't actually happen. I have very, very romantic memories of Cinema Borealis. And if anyone gets a chance to see a movie there, I believe James Bond, that's his spot, right?
Yeah, that's his spot. I mean, It's amazing. I've been there a bunch of times. I always go back there and in awe of the 35 millimeter projectors he's got in there. It's just a cool space.
You can't do digital projection, I believe. It's only analog projection there. And the Chicago Cinema Society, when I saw that show, that was back when they were the Northwest Chicago Cinema Society, the longest title ever. And they only were showing film versions of it. So They're a wonderful society. If you get a chance to see their stuff, they show Hal Ashby's Bound for Glory at the patio. Not the patio. What's next to the patio? The other one. I can't remember. This old theaters.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. It's not the Pickwick because it's next to the patio. I know. But it was, they had an organ player, and then we watched a brand new Hal Ashby movie on 35 millimeter. Like I had never in a one house movie theater. It was miraculous. It's the amazing
Portage Theater.
Portage. Thank you. I
used to go to the Portage so many. Hey, Jack, can I share a link with you? You could.
Yeah, send it to me in the private chat, and let me see what I can do.
So if you could show up like a screenshot of that, Jack, that the Chicago Reader actually did a story about our Scopatone screening, and they have a great picture of a Scopatone, the same exact one we had on display.
The black and white one?
Yep.
Let me take care of that.
Yeah, I do hope people get, when they do end up in Chicago again. It's such a vibrant, interesting film scene.
You know what? I tell people all the time, like Chicago has such a vibrant film scene. I think it's like, I would compare it to like after New York City. It's like LA, New York City, us.
Yeah.
We do so much repertoire theater here, screenings. We have some great theaters. And just like the underground independent scene's really vibrant.
It's so much fun. It's so weird and unique.
And it's not like that in everywhere else. Like we are very unique. Also, I feel like the underground film scene here is very tight knit. There it is. There's a scope.
Wow. So that's the one you had.
That's not the actual one, but that's the one the same type.
I'm in love with
a great machine.
Bones, if you're watching, I want one.
I think he paid like $1,200 for it.
That's a lot. It's actually really reasonable because it's so cool. I love that that matte. It's back projected, so like it's just got that beautiful look to it. Wow,
it is nice.
It got me all tongue tied looking at a beautiful scope. What is it?
Scopatone.
Scoptipow.
Oh, here. You know what? Let me share another thing. Let me share another thing, Jack, with you.
Yeah. What you got?
And then you could show this. This is the actual one that we had on display. This is the application.
We'll take care of that.
Raul, I heard. Oh, sorry.
What was I talking about before I got this?
Well, I was wondering. This goes into what we were talking about. We're just talking about how the Underground Film Festival or the Underground scene and stuff. I've heard that Chicago has like the most film festivals in anywhere.
Yeah,
it's like ever.
We have so many film festivals, from little to big. It's great. I mean, there's a Native American Film Festival.
Those guys are wonderful. I worked with them once. And
there's like a Palestinian. There's Jewish American Film Festival. There's so many.
Yeah,
so many, and I don't think it's like that anywhere else. Also, what I wanted to say was, I think the underground film scene here is very tight knit. I think everybody helps each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a lot of like, I have a camera, or I know somebody that will help you with sound. I think there's a lot going on that doesn't go on a lot in other cities, especially like LA, where basically in LA everybody's out for themselves and want to get into Hollywood. So there isn't that kind of collaboration like there is here.
Sure. It's a different kind of a networking for sure.
It's different, and it's very, everybody kind of, people know each other sort of and help each other out. And so I think that culture is unlike anywhere else,
definitely,
in my opinion. And so that's why I think the film scene is very vibrant here. Also, in a weird way, it's also kind of very disconnected because, there's this like upper echelon of filmmaking in the city, Chicago Fire and all that other stuff. And they're not really connected to everything down here.
The CineSpace stuff over here.
It's like very disconnected.
I hear you.
So as part of trying to remedy that, me and my co-programmer Nando, we did before the pandemic, we were doing a film programmers potluck where we invite all the film programmers in the city, mostly the independent ones, so they could all meet and talk
Oh, that's
and
fun.
exchange
Great community.
ideas. And people bring food, and then we exchange. We exchange ideas and talk about what we're doing, and we would do those like 3 or 4 times a month. We would do it like every season, and we would invite the programmers from the music box all the way down to like artist run spaces programmers.
Sure.
And
Amazing.
our philosophy is, as programmers, film programmers, we're all doing the same thing. Some of us has a lot of money, some of us don't, but we still end up programming things.
Yeah.
And we all love film, and I think that we all should meet. There shouldn't be this dichotomy of like, I mean, there is kind of like this weird before. There was kind of like this weird clique of programming here in the city, and I think, and then we felt like the potluck was kind of a way kind of to break that up,
Yeah.
and just kind of bring everybody in, and we're going to continue to do that once we're able to, because a lot of collaborations have come out of those potlucks, and people get to meet, and I think that's the way it should be. It should be open. People should be open with each other, and exchange ideas. There's the city's big enough. There just really shouldn't be any competition.
Yeah.
The city's big enough to hold all of us and hold all the programming that we do.
Totally agreed. It was always,
the city is very neighborhood centric. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we have our comfort film series. At one point, my friend Emily Esperanza did her Nobles of Exile Society screenings in Homo Park.
Yeah.
And it was fine. We totally were fine.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any competition. When they lost our venue, we invited her to do stuff at Comfort Station, because that's what we should be doing.
Right. Yeah, we had Cinema Obscura, who was over in Logan.
Yeah,
we had him over in Rogers when we could have him.
Yeah,
in
so
Rogers,
there's no we don't see it as competition.
Yeah.
And so we should all be inclusive and talking to each other and meeting and helping each other out if possible.
Yeah.
It's a very collaborative community.
So that's what we're trying. That's what the potluck we're trying to do with the potluck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping to continue that, later this year or next year. But we want, that's something that I think is very important. And I really, one thing that I really don't like is like snobbiness in cinema. I really hate snobbiness. I really hate gatekeeping in cinema. I don't think there's no need for it, even though there is.
Right.
But I think, as programmers, and we should be breaking this kind of gatekeeping and snobbiness. It shouldn't be that way. And there is a lot of snobbiness in film programming. There just is.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And me and my programmer Nando are here to break it up.
Nice. You're the union buster.
So
to speak.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, we just want to. Yeah, I mean, again, we just want it to be inclusive to everyone, and all programmers should be involved in any kind of thing. So that's just the way I feel about it. And
maybe sometime we can have, and it doesn't even have to be part of the show, but like a virtual potluck where we just all get on here and record it and just kind of. I would be curious to see an entire city worth of. Like a city's worth of programmers all in one room, just kind of talking about what's important to them. I don't know if that's too much to handle on a Zoom call, but we can have up to 10 people on here in this room.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
or maybe we could just do like a live in-person one.
Oh, that sounds like fun too.
Yeah, or just to be a fly on the wall, just set up a camera way in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that idea. I think it's really interesting.
So if you could show this, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll put it in there. So there's pictures in that album of prior meetups.
Cool.
If you could show those, I would appreciate it. There's group pictures there.
Cool. Bone says that my birthday.
I cannot get into that.
Okay, hold on. Then I'll just send you this.
But I can put up that Scopatone.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
I'll
now
here
we
go.
go.
Send you that's actually the one in conversation, the actual one.
Nice, that's beautiful.
So there's a picture there, Jack. You should be able to get that.
All right, let me check that out. Yeah, okay, I can get that. That's a nice
Beautiful.
one. Saving that now.
And then I'll send you one more just to show you like the turnout of these potlucks that we do, and because I think people are interested in that, and I think it's important to show that these are all people, these are all programmers in a city getting together.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one that we had at Filmfront.
Oh, I know some of these people.
The micro cinema in Pilsen. So these are all film programmers. Yeah, there's Jung-Ah, and then there's
Amir.
Yeah, there's Amir, and there's me, and there's Damon, the guy in the gray shirt. He was a programmer at the Beverly Arts Center.
Okay. There's
Malia and Alan, the two in the front, the green, and then she has the black pants. They run Filmfront in Pilsen. These are programmers that come to these meetups. If you could show the other one, Jack, that'd be great. So this is one that was this is actually at the Nightingale. So from right to left in the front row, that's Malia from Filmfront. That's Sophie from the Latino Film Festival. That's Sharon, who does this film festival called Mental Fitness, which features films about mental illness. And then the blonde girl next to me, that is Kat Sachs, who also programs at Nightingale. There's Jose Luis, who does independent film programming. The African American gentleman, that's Floyd Webb.
Sure, I worked with Floyd.
There's Emily Eddy. There's Ryan, and then the guy with the red hair, the red hat. They're programmers at the Music Box. So there's just a whole. The guy next to Floyd, that's Mike Mexinger from the Block Cinema.
Very cool.
So as you can see, like it's a wide variety of programmers that come to this.
But that's that's a huge chunk of the independent scene right there. Like I spent a huge many years of my life following a lot of those people.
Yeah. So
and coming across them working at like filmmakers and doing my own shows and stuff.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show like how diverse the phone programming community is, and how they want to meet. We want to bring them in. So that I felt that's important to show that.
Yeah, and just how yes, sometimes these shows, like I was lucky enough to see one of your shows at Facets, which is a small independently owned theater off of Fullerton there. But that these shows are Sculptatone. They are outside. It's whatever you can think of for these shows. As far as independent programming goes, it's whatever. It's not just confined to a room with seats and a screen.
Exactly.
And it's always so interesting to me, any way you can break free of that, because that seems to be, that's the main way we do it usually.
Yes.
But it's so fabulous to see all of these people working towards doing different kinds of screening experiences, because that's the stuff that I remember. That's the stuff that we all remember outside of.
Exactly. And there's film programmers out there that, especially from like the other more established institutions, that don't want to come out to these for some reason, but and that's unfortunate. Like they should come out and meet us. I mean, why? Just because you're from a large organization that has money to program whatever the hell you want, still shouldn't preclude you from like meeting everyone.
Chicago is so funny that way. I mean, it's amazing that you've been able to bridge the islands the way you have, because that was always something that we said, was that Chicago is just kind of like this archipelago. There's a lot of islands. There's a lot of people doing their own thing. And you're best if you can figure out how to make your thing work with someone else's thing, and, or quid pro quo, if you will. But, sometimes there's people who are just kind of like, good on you, good luck, see you next year, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
It's really great when people actually can bust through that, because it seems, I don't know how bad it is or how it is anymore. Especially with the pandemic and everything, but it was kind of notorious for me and my peers coming through Chicago, just kind of like, everyone's nice, but everyone's their own island.
Yeah. And that's what this potluck's trying to break.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring those connections together.
Oh, it looks like you're really doing a great job with all the outreach.
Thank you. I mean, it's just like something that I wanted to do, and
Yeah.
we wanted to do, and so
Listen,
so
sooner
yeah,
or later we all have to eat. So
that's true.
what better way to reach out to other people than with food?
Exactly.
Perfect. All right, Jack, do you have any other questions? Anything burning your brain? Anything on your mind, Jack?
Yeah, well, just kind of always looking forward to the future. The future.
By the way, Jack, I'm with you on the Rosemary's Baby thing.
Yeah.
For
Charles Grodin.
Charles Gordon.
I cannot wait to watch it again.
Yeah.
What's your Charles Grodin, and do you have a Paul Mooney memory?
Yeah. I'm curious about that.
I mean, I always thought it was funny seeing Charles Gordon in The Great Muppet Caper. I thought that was
Yes.
So good in that.
Yeah,
he's so good in that. I really love
wonderful
that.
in that.
Very well said.
Yeah.
As far as Paul Mooney, like he was great on the Chappelle Show. I love when he was on the Chappelle Show.
He would just destroy on that show.
You know, I mean, obviously he was great in Bamboozled. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I have to watch Great Muppet Caper again. Actually,
That's a movie that just gets better every time.
I'm really upset at myself for not remembering that Charles Grodin. Not only is he the best part of that movie, but that may be his best movie. Like, I just didn't even think about that. I was so kind of
an accurate thing to say.
I was so distracted.
So what types of programming are you most looking forward to? Either stuff that you've just kind of had on the back burner because you've had to wait so long, and now this is finally the chance. But beyond that, other things that you're excited about, if you can talk about that stuff, if it has to be kind of kept under wraps right now.
no, not at all. I mean, I'm really excited about our guest curator series. We're going to do a guest curator program in July with the Asian Pop-Up Cinema.
Cool.
They promised us a samurai movie and samurais. They're like, we know samurais. I'm like,
Ooh.
what?
That's a big promise.
So I'm like, she's like, I could bring you some samurais. I'm like, bring them.
I could bring you some samurais.
I
That needs
dare
to be
you.
on a needle point.
And I'm always excited about our silent film and loud music series. That's always great. We never know what's going to happen.
I was fascinated by that when you're talking about the punk bands and the opera singers. That just
one time we had a chiptune band do a film.
What's a chiptune band?
Chiptune. They do music with Nintendo Game Boys.
Oh, like the 8-bit type of sound.
Like yes,
That's cool.
they like hack their Game Boys to make music.
Yeah.
Jack, did you ever see them do that at the Flynn Theater in Burlington?
I didn't see it, but I'm aware that they did that.
I did it twice. My folks took me to them. The first one was Charles Chaplin. They did a bunch of Charlie Chaplin shows in a one-house movie palace with a live orchestra. And then the next one they did when we were in high school, they did Creature from the Black Lagoon with an acid jazz band.
Oh, fun.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And it was 3D. They had the glasses.
What?
Yeah, it was good.
I would love to do a 3D one.
Yeah, Burlington is good. I had that poster because I worked at Waterfront Video and they hosted it. So I had the poster on my wall for a long time.
Yeah, we're doing another silent film in July with a Latin rock band called La Rosa Noir.
Okay.
So we're excited for them to see what they come up with.
The Black Rose.
And then in August we're going to have this Cassie Cork, who does like industrial music.
Cool.
She's going to do a film for us too in August, so I'm excited for that. So I'm there's a lot of cool stuff for
Metropolis or something like that.
We cannot show Metropolis.
Really, you can't show Metropolis?
No, because what they do is when they restore the film, they put a copyright on the restoration.
That's so
right.
dirty.
It's like you were saying that you couldn't get the digital rights or to the film for the.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, because like we showed Nosferatu, but we couldn't show Kino's restored version of it. We had to show the original, non-restored version.
That's outrageous.
Because what they do is they put a copyright on the music and on the restoration part. So they actually they just got to colorize the film that was colorized. They were able to recreate that, and they actually copyright that aspect of it. So you can't show their version unless you pay screening rights.
So they copyrighted the colorizing process.
Yeah, and the
process.
music that they used.
Right.
And so we had to be careful, like what, because they Kino and stuff like that. That's one thing they like to do is they like to restore and then copyright the restored part.
So they're not your friends.
Kino, no, I don't think I ever got anything from Kino.
No.
From what I understand, they're very easy to work with.
Okay.
But it's easier for me to just show the non-restored version. It's fine. People are there for the music, and the visuals.
Right. Amadeus with a live orchestra sounds amazing.
Yeah, that does sound amazing.
Sounds like too many notes.
I did have somebody come to me and ask, they asked if they could show Akira, the Japanese anime, with live music, but I'm like, man, Japanese anime screening rights are so expensive.
Yeah.
I don't
Especially Akira, my God.
I don't think I could afford Akira.
Yeah, no Toro film? I don't think so. Otomo.
Yeah, there's no way I could afford it. I mean, that's a great idea, and I'm all for it.
Well, you can't really advertise it, right? You have to figure out the pirate advertisement.
No, I wouldn't even advertise it, but it's such an expensive screening. I wouldn't be able to afford it. But it's a great idea. If you have the money, come to us. We'll do it for you.
Wonderful. Raul, what have you been watching lately?
Hold on for a second.
Okay. Da.
Suspense is killing.
Sorry. Actually, my friend Viviana from Mexico just messaged me.
Oh, hi, Viviana.
From Mexico. She wants to chat about something, but I told her to give me 15. What did I see? My friend, Jason Kaufman he rented a theater out at Davis last night.
Oh, cool.
And we saw. Let me find out what we saw. But
was he doing his birthday thing?
No, that wasn't for his birthday. That was he was just excited that he could rent a theater. You know what I mean? And rented it out for his friends. We saw. Hold on. Let me get because I can't remember the name of the movie at the moment. We saw the Alien Factor. So this is like a film, like a low budget film where this spaceship crashes in Maryland, in the woods of Maryland, and the spaceship had zoological specimens, and they get away and they kill people in town, and they're trying to find out who did it. And this guy comes around. He's like, I work at the observatory. Awesome. I know what it is. And so the effects are bad. The music's great. It's weird. The special effects sounds are amazing. But it was fun. It was fun to hang out with people, and there was a lot of people that I knew there. And so that's the last thing that I saw was Alien Factor last night.
That sounds great. It sounds great to go to the Davis. And
it was so weird too because that was the only screening. The other theaters had no movies.
Oh, really?
We had the whole theater to ourselves.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I want to watch that.
Was their concession open for you? How'd they do that?
Yeah, they had the concession open. So people bought popcorn and stuff. And
great.
I don't know how much Jason paid to rent it. I don't think it was that much because it was in the middle of the week.
Anything for the Davis. They were equal. One of our sister kind of theaters with the new 400 there in Lincoln Square.
Did they reopen or they're not reopen?
So, that I don't know. All I know is that they did the renovation and then they reopened and then the pandemic hit, however many months later.
Sure.
And so I'm sure they're whatever they can do because they did a serious renovation on that joint and it looks really, really nice. And I don't know what the inner, I've met some of their managers before and they're the nicest people in the whole wide world. I just think they're wonderful. And I don't know if they're still there or what all they did. I should find one of these people. I'd love to get, what'd you say? His name is Matt from the Music Box, right? Just to see what all he did during the pandemic. Cause the Music Box managed to stay open for most of it. And that's a crazy prospect. That was always a crazy prospect to me.
Yeah. And I mean, they're doing movies in their little courtyard.
Yeah, it's
So-
fabulous. I'm really happy for anyone who's been able to. I mean, now that things are opening up, we'll see how neighborhoods react.
So-
The neighborhood theaters will be in good shape, I think.
And that means, Jake, you need to go then, because I know you're still scared.
I have none interest. I have no idea what the movie is going to be that'll get me back into a movie theater. It has to be like something.
There'll be
But
something.
There will have to be something. I don't know.
Knives
what it
Out
is.
12.
Maybe Knives Out 12. Maybe when they digitally bring back like John Cassavetes to be one of the characters, and I'll be like, I gotta watch it. It's a new Cassavetes film. Oh, someone is asking what your poster is.
Yeah, the ultimate goal poster behind you.
I'm sorry, dog. I didn't know what you were asking. Someone in the comments.
Darius wants to know.
Ultimate Go poster.
Yeah, behind you, there's a poster that says the ultimate goal.
So that's a poster.
Sorry, dude.
That's a poster of the World Cup.
Okay.
I bought that poster during the World Cup when it was here in Chicago in 1990 something. 94. The 94 World Cup was here in Chicago. And I got a poster and I had tickets and I put the tickets in the poster. Because I that was my second World Cup that I attended. So that's my poster.
Nice.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, Darius was very excited. He's like, you got one poster. What's it all about?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You should. Well, my living room has a whole wall of movie posters, movie paraphernalia.
Yeah.
This is just my office, so not enough.
Shout out to the American footy fans, bro.
Yeah, shout out. Big soccer fan here.
Jake, what have you been watching?
So I've been obsessed with a YouTuber named Nick Lutzko, who is he's a singer, and he makes these disgusting little videos where he sings very intensely without blinking, and he sweats profusely, and he sings songs that are like almost political in nature. I just think he is the next level of parody musician. You know, Jack and I have been following this genre of music since we were little kids. We ran into each other at the Weird Al concert and everything at the Memorial Auditorium. But
Says
also
a lot about us.
But it's also like, you know, it's funny
these ties
how
that bind us.
Truly, and kind of associating certain comedic music with certain eras, you know, like Tenacious D represents an era, Flight of the Conchords represents an era,
Alan Sherman represents an era.
Alan Sherman, exactly, Lonely Island, and to that, I think Nick Lutzko has some of the funniest shit. Like, he's just playing this character that is so hardcore about whatever it is he's going on about. But there is, if you watch all of his songs from the computer, it does tell a story. I do highly suggest everybody listen to. It's basically a concept album.
So he's basically like his own version of Beyonce.
Kind of. He sings a song about he wants his own Nick Jr. show. He wants to host SNL. He wants to go to the RNC. He wants to be at a boat parade. The whole thing is about him living with he's the president of Halloween. He's also now the president of country music. He is lives with his grandma. He may or may not have killed his grandmother. He may not have killed his grandmother's boyfriend's birds. There probably are men living in his basement. There's all of these things that keep popping up in these songs. All I Want for Christmas is a Pardon from the President. I highly suggest it. And his songs, since he releases like every other week kind of a thing, the songs are actually getting better. They're very catchy songs. That's the problem with them, is that they're hysterically catchy. And I, memorize them and sing them, and I'll stop for now. The goal is to get him on the show, either as himself or as the character, so we can talk about how he's killed these birds.
That's funny. You know what? What weird genre of stuff I'm following on YouTube is people going inside abandoned mansions.
Oh, really? I've seen like the abandoned malls.
Yeah,
That's
there's
what I
abandoned malls.
watch.
There's the guys that go to abandoned mansions before they get knocked down, and I'm obsessed with these things.
YouTube is a beautiful place.
There's a guy in France that goes into like abandoned like French castles.
That's cool.
And I was like, man, why am I addicted to this?
You watch the catacomb videos?
No, I have not seen any catacomb
Dude's
videos.
walking through the French catacombs, and then the camera drops and he runs away and you never see him ever again.
God, no, that's
terrifying.
But no, there's these guys that go to these mansions they're abandoned. There was one where they went to this house that was doing like some weird they were doing like oh God, what was it, like slavery or something? They were selling people, but they abandoned the house, so they snuck into the house, and there was just this house had like 14 rooms, and there was just like clothes everywhere. They just like left everything there.
Oh my God!
It was so weird, but it's like really like compelling.
Yeah,
you're like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna be in the next room? You know what I mean? Like,
now I know what I have to search on YouTube next. My goodness.
Yeah, it's like really, it sucked me in.
The mystery of it all.
I don't know. It's not healthy.
Darius also wants to know, Raul, which team you root for, and are you excited for the Taika Waititi film about the Samoan national team trying to get to the World Cup?
Yeah, I think that I'm really excited about that. The Samoan national team movie. I think that's going to be really good. So what team am I excited for? Like just in general, like I'm a Chelsea fan at the EPL. And I know he's probably knows what I'm talking about. But
I know the area that you're talking about.
So I'm a big
Chelsea
fan.
New York. I know, listen, I know that he knows what you're talking about and that it makes both of you happy, and that makes me happy.
He doesn't sound like a Chelsea fan.
Obviously, I'm I follow MLS soccer, so see, I knew it.
As quickly as it was bonded is as quickly as it breaks.
It's okay. That's fine.
Any team but Chelsea, apparently.
But yeah, no, I mean, I follow like the Fire, even though they're fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm supposed to follow the Fire.
You know what I do? I've had before pandemic, and I'm going to go next month.
The fire follows the heat, right? Isn't that how that works? No, the fire follows the smoke. I'm giving you gold here.
I go see Chicago Dog games, the minor league team in Rosemont.
Oh, okay.
The minor league baseball team. I go to those games because they're so cheap. They're like $12, and you get to watch a baseball game, and you can actually get parking.
That sounds like fun.
So I do that once in a while in the summer. Go see a baseball game since I can't afford Cubs games.
Right.
Cubs tickets are ridiculously expensive now.
Well, and you have to go to Wrigleyville.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to Cubs games since I was like 8.
Okay.
So, but it's expensive now. It's ridiculous. So I go to the minor league team because it's fun, and you get to watch some baseball and don't have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I do that, and I watch I actually do watch a ton of soccer on weekends. Unlike my peers in the film community, I watch a lot of sports, which is unfortunate because I can't talk to anybody.
Not a single one of us.
Like I'm like their eyes roll back, and I'm like, "Did you watch that game?" And they're like, "They have no clue."
And the one time that you do, you're like, "Yeah, I like Chelsea."
Yeah, and they're like, and then everybody hates me.
This is something we can all agree on, though.
Get priced out of seeing what they love by them plutocratic dickheads.
Well, especially
well said.
Just got rebought and revamped
Yes.
and everything. It's completely different looking now.
Yeah.
But I watch a ridiculous amount of sports in between my film programming and screening stuff. So that sets me apart from my peers.
Jack,
so when I run into somebody that I can talk to about sports, I'm so happy.
Jack, what you watching?
Wolf Cop.
Oh man, I love Wolf Cop.
What's Wolf Cop?
Wolf Cop is on Hulu. It is about the has-been police officer Lou Garou, who turns into a werewolf. And it's an indie film out of Canada, and the special effects are really good.
It's an indie film?
Yeah.
Wolf Cop 2's good too.
Yeah. I haven't seen another Wolf Cop, but I'm aware of another Wolf Cop.
Yeah, highly recommend the Wolf Cop.
I tried to do it here by making a super league of the UK football teams, and it was an attack on the fabric of our sporting society.
Yeah, he's still talking about that, huh?
He's adamant, you know. He's
like, finally, all this guy talks about on this channel is movies and screenwriting. Finally, there's someone to talk about fucking soccer about. Don't worry, we'll have him back on the show. You guys can talk about soccer. It's fine, I know.
Thank you, Darius, for keeping us in line. For saying what everyone is really thinking. Talk about sports, Jake.
Why don't you take this independent film channel and make it what it really should be about? Raul, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'll be more than happy to come back on and shoot the shit again.
Cool.
Yes,
I hope so.
do.
We'll have you on in a few months, and you can tell us how the summer went and how everything's coming back to life. Because, like you said, I'm not going back to the theater, so let's see how it goes for you. And I only can hope. Will do. Keep me posted.
Please go to Raul's website to check out all of the great programming that he puts together and all of the just wonderful places where you can see this great programming.
And Raul himself is a great hub if you want to get to know anything more about independent programming in Chicago. If he doesn't have the answer himself, he can point you to someone who will have the answer without a doubt.
And he knows where to find a good potluck.
That's what I do. I help filmmakers. That's one of the jobs as a film programmer.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Like I always say, we could just keep talking to you. Just keep this going. But we do have to roll. Thanks, everyone who's been watching the show. We've been getting a little uptick in people watching and subscribing. And, there will be more soccer talk in the future, footy talk in the future. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Jack?
No, I think that about says it all. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Tune in again next week on Thursday night at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central.
I got Dakota Loesch for next week.
Oh, that is exciting.
Really? Nice.
Yes, my very, very good friend Dakota Loesch, who's starred in 2 of my movies and is up there in the top.
Yeah, I know Dakota.
Just love him so much. And he's going to be bringing, not for his episode, but he's going to be bringing some deep cuts for Film Stuff So Far,
awesome.
Volume 2. So that'll be really exciting. So next week is Dakota, and then Film Stuff So Far, Volume 2 is the week after that, June 3rd, where we're going to be showing Welcome to Hell by Erica Wester, a couple of Simone Kissel short, and maybe even a special appearance by director Simone Kissel, and some definitely a deep cut Dakota short, and maybe even a Clean Sheets episode, everyone. I think we're going to be watching the first episode of Clean Sheets. So please join us. Raul, thank you again. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with us all night. Jack.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
I will see you next week. And everyone, I will see you all in the future.
What's that billowing down the stairs? Look, I'm really starting to worry. There's half-eaten cupcakes everywhere. We're all out of paper clips. And the curtains smell like doob. What? No. What? No. What? Well, that's where I used to grow my weed. But that's a story for another day. Never mind. We drove around until 3 a.m. looking for another all-you-can-eat fish restaurant.
And when you couldn't find one?
We went fishing. Yes, I have something that I'd like to sell.
Please tell me it's your hair.
No.